A lot of people won't even start building a second income stream because they think that it has to replace their paycheck for it to even matter. That couldn't be further from the truth. In this month's cash report, I'm going to show you how much I made outside of my 9 to 5, where every dollar came from, where every dollar went, and the 3 leverage lessons that every ambitious professional should take away from this. So let's get into it. So, since this is the first month we're doing it, I started it here in June and I put the categories for all of the ways that I could possibly make money outside of my 9 to 5 right now. So for me, that looks like YouTube. I offer strategy calls. I offer digital products. I offer consulting. I offer memberships. And then on this other side, you see where the money went and how the story plays out. So for YouTube this month, just under $300, digital products, just under $100, memberships, under $15. So that was a total of 397.31. And so what I'm doing differently is that every dollar has a job. So instead of saying, great, okay, I made some extra money. What can I go buy? Maybe I can take myself out to dinner. Maybe I can go buy some new clothes. I'm not doing that with this particular set of money. It is all helping my freedom fund. And so freedom looks like less debt, more investing, more passive investments, and pouring back into the business so that the funds can continue month after month. So for this month, I started with the business operating expenses. I have an admin who helps me do all of my thumbnails and my metadata for YouTube. And basically, all I have to do is record, and she takes care of everything else. So I pay her $250 a month. That's the first business expense I wanted to get off of my back because either my paycheck was going to pay for it or I was going to have to come out of my savings or somehow I was going to have to come up with this money. So I'm happy to say that the business paid for itself this month. And then that left me with $147.31, which I chose to go into debt. And then I'll probably alternate between debt and investing, depending on how big the numbers get. We'll see. So starting off the year, we have $397.31, and net zero shows that I allocated everything. So I also created a gallery view, which will probably just help us see trends over time. But let's get into the leverage lessons because the lessons that you learn by trying to earn on your own outside of your 9 to 5 are way more important than the actual dollar amount. So the first lesson that stuck out to me was that your side income doesn't have to replace your salary to matter. And I think that's the goal for most people. They're either shooting for the stars and they're trying to do something really big. And they're like, out the gate, the first thing I try to do to make money on my own has to make thousands of dollars a month. So I either kill myself trying to make that happen or I don't even try because I think, what am I going to do with $300 a month? And honestly, I'm sure some of you are looking at this and I'm not embarrassed because this is my very first month. I woke up this year in January and said, hmm, I started building a personal brand a couple of years ago. I want to get back into that. I want to leverage the audience that I already started building, all the systems that I have in place. I want to make something of that. And so in January, when I actually made my first dollar, and I'm not showing that here because it was from an old product that somebody actually bought that I wasn't even offering anymore, but I still had the link active. So when I made that first dollar in January, I was like, okay, let's get in gear. So it took me from February until now to rebrand myself, start putting out content, all the things to make it my first dollar that you see here today. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Because like I said, if I didn't make this $397, I was going to have to pay my admin $250 and I would not have had an extra credit card payment. And you know how valuable an extra credit card payment is. Every dollar counts. So I don't want you to delay or procrastinate on starting something. Like this is me being 100% transparent. This is how it starts. This is the beginning. When people are touting building sources of income and starting your personal brand and posting on YouTube, you're not going to make $18,000 the first month. Like, let's just be clear. You have to be okay starting at the beginning. So I think that's the biggest lesson for me. And it'll be interesting to see as we go on month to month how many more options I have. Like these categories will continue to change. I'm sure I'll have additional income sources, and that will give me even more options of what I can do with it on the back end. The second lesson, and it's connected, is that multiple small income sources are actually better than one. So when I think back to when I was a career coach and I only had one offer, it was a 6-week program. Either you were in or you were out. There were a lot of months where I had 0 in revenue, 0 coming in because I only had one big income stream. But now I've broken it up. I have digital products, I have strategy calls, I have 4 different things going already. And that's important because some months YouTube will be the star, some months strategy calls will be the star, some months you won't sell any digital products. Like, I think if we're honestly trying to move away from one source of income, you can't go from my job gives me one paycheck to my side income also gives me one paycheck. I think the takeaway lesson here is that any option is better than none, and any revenue that you can generate, no matter how small in multiple different areas, it's money that didn't exist a month ago. It's money that you can continue, you know what I mean? Because now I have options. I can decide to focus on digital products and do all the steps that it takes to get there. I can decide to focus on strategy calls. Like I'm now in control of what this revenue looks like versus just hammering one thing, one thing. It's the equivalent of, like I mentioned, having one offer, one high ticket coaching offer, and you burn yourself out trying to make a sale every month. That leads to burnout. And then it's kind of like when you're working your job and you're like, I gotta make more money at work, or I gotta find a job. I gotta find a job. Like those are the quickest paths to burnout. And burnout is something acutely aware of and trying to prevent. So I'm 100% okay with multiple small revenue sources and being able to grow those and having options about how much I work toward it, what I want, that whole thing. That leads me to lesson number 3, which is that every dollar should create future options. And so when I look at how I have allocated things, allocating toward the business, that's what allows me to continue into the next month with my content, keeping the machine going. And then the debt that also gives you options because if you ever lose your job, if anything ever happens to your income, debt is the one thing you don't want hanging over your head. So being able to create money to pay my debt down is valuable to me, and that creates options because that's $147. Again, doesn't have to come out of my paycheck, and now I can do something else with it. Investing, of course, it will continue to grow in the background. It will continue to compound. So that's clearly helping me build future options for myself. And so, in a nutshell, what I'm saying, instead of making money to spend more money, all of these allocation options, they actually improve my financial positioning. And so that's how I'm looking at this money. It's not for living expenses. It's not the fun account. I'm using this money specifically to give myself more options. Now, of course, my engineering brain is like, okay, what next? What do I need to do? So this month in the cash crew, I'm going to be sharing my next quarter's income plan, what I'm focusing on, which areas I'm trying to improve, and exactly how I plan to do that. So step by step, what I'm doubling down on, what I'm saying no to, and what experiments I'm running so that we can come back and see how July played out. If you're interested in the behind the scenes of how I even make these numbers appear, you're going to want to join the Cash Crew by becoming a channel member. I'm documenting this because I think it's important for professionals to see what it actually takes to build money outside of your 9 to 5 because that is a skill that no one is teaching. You didn't learn it in school. They're not going to teach it to you in corporate. And since I'm on the journey, I might as well share what's actually going on because I actually love building in public. And this is way more valuable than me just coming to you and saying, oh, I made $10,000 this month, or oh, my business brought in 50,000 this year. You actually get to be on this journey with me. My name is Jerry. And if you're still here and you love this kind of content, go ahead and give that like button a smash so you can keep building that confidence. And we're going to keep building this cash. I make videos for ambitious professionals who want to live life on their terms. And you can get a behind the scenes look at my businesses over on Substack at Confidence is Cash. And if you're ready to move from soaking up information to taking action, you're going to want to get the action steps and playbooks that I provide for every single episode. The link is in the description. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.